So just wanted to start by understanding your background. You studied medicine. So how did you really think of joining politics? What was the trigger point? And can you tell us a bit about your background, your family?
So I trained as a doctor in Bangladesh, and then I took my advanced degree in evidence-based medicine from the University of Oxford. I did a few other postgraduate qualifications, including membership of the Royal College of Physicians, a diploma from the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and I was doing these postgraduate qualifications while I was working as a doctor in the UK's National Health Service. Side by side, I also used to work as a clinical teacher at the School of Clinical Medicine in University of Cambridge. I served as a senior clinical supervisor there. And in addition to these, I also started a health tech startup, which now reaches over 12 million people with evidence-based health information. So that's the background. And what motivated me to join politics? Two things really. The first one was, as a doctor, I'm able to impact my patients, my individual patients, but politics offers an opportunity to influence systemic changes that can affect, hopefully, a much larger segment of the population. And the second thing was the need. I really strongly felt the need to change our political culture so that we can shift away from nepotism, corruption, and the polarization towards transparency, accountability, and evidence-based policies. And I felt that the July uprising really crystallized this vision and has given us an extraordinary opportunity to bring about these systemic changes so that our policies and our politics is able to truly serve the citizens of the country.
And how did your parents react to your decision? Of course, it's not easy for women to get into politics and also sustain, the entire career shift for a long time. What was the first reaction of your siblings, of your parents?
I think it's difficult for women in politics. I mean, we have had strong female leaders in Bangladesh, but they have come from traditional political families. But now we are seeing many young women who are entering politics who do not have these traditional political connections. And I feel that that is really encouraging. Of course, there are challenges. And in our party, we are very mindful of including the voices of women in our party. But what we've seen is actually for women in politics, it's very difficult, and there's been unprecedented bullying, abuse, magnified through social media. So I think if we have to create that space to where women are able to actively participate in politics, we would need cross-partisan solidarity. No matter the political affiliation, we need to create that space for women. I'll give you an example. So I was visiting a village in Rajbari, and we were holding small talks with people in the localities, and how men were framing the problem was very different to how women were experiencing the problem. Men were speaking to me about broken roads and how that creates difficulty in commuting. But when I was speaking to the women, they said that actually it also stays waterlogged. So they were speaking about how it's difficult to cook because the stoves go underwater, and it's also risky for their children in terms of they get accidents and they're prone to waterborne illnesses. So again, these are unique perspectives that if we leave out these voices, it would keep a big void in our policies. So I think we really need to have a political culture and cross-partisan support so that it's not just about increasing numbers of women in politics, but actually creating a space where we're able to incorporate and integrate the insights and experience of women in politics.
And when we talk of, you're mentioning two very powerful women who've led Bangladesh. How would you see their tenures? And what are the learnings that you would like to carry on from both? And what is new and what's the future as far as, young leaders like you now coming in?
So young people, of course, have taken a very bold step, and they have led from the front, and they have led the uprising, and which is why we are in this moment where we're able to think about shaping our policy course that will serve the citizens of Bangladesh. Side by side, we're also mindful of engaging our elders, our experienced people, and making sure that we have that intergenerational dialogue where we're able to connect experience with the fresh blood and enthusiasm that young people bring about. And the other thing that you mentioned, so actually, there is a risk, of course, where we might carry the outdated political baggage, but we want to create a structured mentorship where we do not miss out on the experience. We're able to really harness the experience, the insights that our elders have, but also not have the rigid hierarchy where we just take their opinions and insights uncritically, but it's a structured mentorship where it's a win-win for everybody.
We've seen the role of social media in the July uprising. Do you think this change could have happened without the use of social media? And how powerful was the medium?
Social media was very, very powerful during the uprising. I mean, it was a vital lifeline during the uprising. And you would see how impactful it was because the government shut down the internet. So it was getting very powerful. People were seeing the images in front of their eyes, and this was magnified by social media. People were clicking pictures. They were doing videos live of what was happening on the streets, people being killed, people being shot at. And then these were the medium to spread this to our communities, to our friends, families, neighbors, was through social media. And it's very difficult then for people to see these images, to see these videos, to see these pictures and stay still and not come out and demand justice and accountability, which is what happened during the July uprising. And I think social media played a very powerful role. Of course, movements and uprisings happen without social media, but in this day and age, I think it does help amplify the cause a lot.
You recently raised concerns over transparency of political funding following chief organizer Sarjis Alam's case being seen with a fleet of over 100 vehicles. How vulnerable are youngsters to trappings of power?
Youngsters, I think, are vulnerable to trappings of power, especially as they're developing their ethical compass. But our focus as a party is on internal accountability and making sure that we are able to understand that the legitimacy in politics comes from integrity and public service rather than displays of power.
Do you think youngsters need guidance of elders in the NCP? And how inclusive can you make the new party without disturbing its core strength of being unbiased, yet infuse new blood? Seniors would come to the party with their own baggage, of course, their own experience. How will you balance the two?
So, again, we do really promote intergenerational dialogues and we want to tap into the experience of seniors. So we are in the process of forming advisory councils and we really want to make sure that we are able to give them the space to give strategic input to the party. But like you also say, we are mindful that sometimes we do need a sort of balance between the energy and the optimism and innovation from young people with the experience and sometimes very set ideas of our older generation. But we want to create a balance and make sure that there is a mentorship model almost rather than very rigid hierarchy where we accept things uncritically, and same for the other way as well. So of course we're energetic, we are young, but we do understand that we need mentorship, we need the experience of our elders, so as we would not accept things uncritically from them, and same the other way around as well. So as a party, what we're trying to do is get them involved as part of our advisory council and also in other strategic leadership areas, collective decision areas, so that we can tap into their experience and expertise.
Another question, when I see you working, you don't have the logistics that any traditional mainstream political party would have. How difficult it is to move around, do your meetings, not just within Dhaka, but also outside. You need your presence to grow at the grassroots levels also. What are the daily challenges that you face?
Countless countless daily challenges. I mean, of course, we are a very new party and we are in the process of developing our logistics, our structures, so it's very difficult, but there's a lot of energy. So our leaders and our supporters of the party, they would accompany us. So sometimes we walk, sometimes we take the rickshaw. It's a very energetic bunch. So of course there are challenges, but we are trying to make sure that we are able to tap into the energy and we are getting things done. So that's how we are sort of managing. But hopefully with time we'll have a structure which would make these challenges a bit less daunting, if that makes sense.
Last question: how do you see yourself 10 years from hence? And do you think you'll continue your political journey? Are you also keen to get back to medicine at some stage, or are you completely committed to the cause?
So in 10 years' time, I hope I am in a position where I'm still working for the cause that I've said today, and being able to shape politics and policies that truly work for the citizens of Bangladesh.
We would love you to visit India sometime. For your understanding, what are your interests as far as your Indian audience is concerned? A lot of people do watch you on social media.
I would love to visit India. That is definitely one of my bucket lists, especially because I've been a big fan of Tagore and I really want to visit Shantiniketan. And I've received so much love from people in West Bengal and India for my health education videos. Actually, that's the second top area that people watch our videos from. So I would really love to visit.